The Hornets lose what I think is the most painful loss of the season, this time to the winless to this point Pelicans, 116 to 112. Everything went wrong in the last minute of this game for Charlotte. We'll break it all down today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We appreciate you checking us out anywhere you get your podcasts, including YouTube. There's Doug Branson. What are you doing? Everyhornetsboxscore.com. What are you doing?
You know the meme? You know the meme where it's like the older guy and he's kind of got the white mustache and he's going, oof. That's the Hornets.
Okay. Yeah. Probably need a little more context than just the oof. Okay. But now I know you did explain it pretty well. Does he have a white mustache? I don't know. I do know now what you're talking about. Anyways, it's Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. He also produces Yahoo Sports Daily. Go check that out with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fitton. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Do I got to shout anybody out here real quick before we dive into the loss?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for laughing. This isn't funny. This loss isn't funny. Their effort.
Can you put on a serious face, please? We got some real bashing to do here. Before we do that, I want to tell you this episode, perhaps not as much enthusiasm, so I apologize. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time? Game Time. Yeah. It's brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Hornets fall to the Pelicans 116 to 112. They had the lead for a large portion of the fourth quarter. They outscored the Pelicans in the third after being down to New Orleans at halftime. They made a nice run in the second quarter as well. They'd been playing largely good basketball for, I'd say, decent enough basketball to get the lead, I'd say, for the last, 30 minutes of this game, something like that. And maybe not the exact last 30 minutes, maybe for a 30-minute stretch. And then the last 2 minutes in particular, then it got real ugly. Let's start here, Doug. I tweeted out, everything went wrong for the Hornets down the stretch, and they lose a close ball game. That one's painful. And my mentions are filled with angry tweets towards Charles Lee. Out of Hornet says on Lee. We have Tom who writes in, that's a Charles Lee team for you.
What does that even mean?
Cabe says on Coach Lee. Okay. Matt Johnston says fire Charles Lee. That sure. BS was inexcusable. Yeah, I get it. Here's what I'll say. Do I like particularly wasting all of that time on the shot clock, one of the last possessions? Yes. Do I like Colin Sexton using a Kon Knueppel screen and then throwing it right back to Kon, and that was your shot after wasting all of that time? No, I don't like that offensive look a lot. Do I like Miles Bridges at the very end after you go down 3 by not being able to get the ball in bounds? Forgot about that. Slob play doesn't work out for the Hornets. Doesn't really matter who the coach is. They just don't work out. So after Sion James turned it over by trying to pass it to Ryan Kalkbrenner, it gets deflected by Derek Queen. Pelicans, they get the ball. They make 2 free throws. Next possession, do I like Miles Bridges going straight to the wing and chucking up a 3 immediately when there was still 10 seconds left, 12 on the clock while he let it fly? No, I probably don't like that either. So it did feel like the sets were high pick and roll with Kon Knueppel, force the ball back. And I do say force the ball back to Kon and just live with him taking a shot, regardless of how close Jose Alvarado would be on him. I guess because Kon is taller, you just think, okay, just go ahead and shoot it. Cool. And then Miles Bridges shot at the end. I didn't like those decisions. I didn't like that set. I looked at Charles Lee a little bit in this one as well. No, I'm not firing him. perhaps I'm doing the thing where we're holding him a little more accountable, which is one tweet, what it said, that we need to hold Charles Lee a little more accountable. Yeah, I can't tell you I was pleased with some of that decision-making at the very end of this one, Doug. What say you?
Certainly I don't think the slob play was his fault. I mean, I think Colin Sexton took way too long to release and get open for that and force Sion to have to go to Kalkbrenner on that. I mean, it really it was either that they didn't have any timeouts left, so it was either that or get the 5-second call. So I don't necessarily put that on him. Yeah, maybe the play that they drew, maybe the play with that you're talking about there with the brush screen that goes to Kon Knueppel. Although Kon had shot it pretty well in the fourth. He'd already hit 2 threes in the fourth quarter. So if you're going to go to someone like Bridges, I think was 1 of 5 in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So
then eventually it did go to Bridges. Eventually he said my time, and
so Kon only hit one. So Kon hit 2
Yeah.
shots in the fourth quarter, only hit 1 3. But yeah, the Bridges, by that time, again, you don't have any timeouts. So maybe they have talked about something, but that's Bridges. That's Bridges bringing the ball up and deciding to do that. They didn't have time to talk that one over. So my thing is look, you can look at the final 2.5 minutes of that game when they go on the 11-0 run, and you can say, man, they really let that one get away. That was brutal. They lost it right at the end. But the signs of them losing that game, you could go back to the first and the second quarter and see the runs that they were giving up, particularly to the bench units of the New Orleans Pelicans, and you could see all of the transition opportunities. I believe in the first half they gave up 15 points on the fast break, and probably even more when you consider secondary breaks and things that they don't count as fast break points. They were just giving so many easy opportunities up to the New Orleans Pelicans. And particularly to those bench units when Alvarado was on the floor, when Carlo was on the floor, this guy who had only hit 6 points previously to this, suddenly he turns into a superstar. That's very familiar to Hornets fans. But
it is.
the New Orleans Pelicans stole this game in the way that someone steals your car after you leave it unlocked. That's what the Hornets did in this game. They were the less energetic team. They were the more undisciplined team for large enough stretches. And sure, you can put some of that on Charles Lee. He's the coach. When you don't look ready for a game, and they didn't really look ready for this game. In the first half, it was Miles Bridges at the end of the quarter saving this team from being down 15. In both of those stretches, I believe he scored 7 points in that stretch to end the first half that helped them not go into the first half with a huge deficit. And then it was Tre Mann knocking down some clutch buckets in the second. Colin Sexton's defense was horrible in this game. It was horrible. And so it was appropriate that Alvarado hits the go-ahead 3 on him overcommitting to Alvarado's drive, but he was getting backdoored left and right. This was a full team loss. And you can throw Charles Lee into that conversation, but if you're going to throw Charles Lee into that conversation, you throw Kon Knueppel not being able to hit the big shot, you throw Miles Bridges kind of collapsing in the second half, you throw Colin Sexton's defense, you throw Kalkbrenner in there getting absolutely owned by Derek Queen at times. You got to throw a lot in there if you're going to throw Charles Lee at me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. In the way that everybody's to blame when you lose a game that against a team that hasn't won very many games or any games at this point, I hear you. If I'm just focusing on that last stretch, I didn't like the play for Miles. I didn't like the play design for Colin and Kon. I'd like to be a little more creative in those senses.
You thought the Miles thing was a play? You think that was a play?
No, I didn't like Miles making that play.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
I'm not saying if Charles Lee, I'm not telling you Charles Lee drew that up, but also conceptually, is there something there where Miles Bridges is trying to catch the defense, not set well? Or I don't need to call Charles Lee into question for that one. I can call just Miles where... Do I want to run into something at all, or do I just want to let that ball fly as soon as I cross half court? It felt like he wanted that shot pretty immediately. He crosses half court, he gets to that spot, lets it fly without it running in anything else. And maybe Charles Lee could do a little something at the sideline. There's about 12 seconds left there, so there's not a ton. I didn't like that one, but I also, again, it's you're up one, or you're up. Let's see, you're up 2 points, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're up 2 points. And they went for the 5-point lead with Kon Knueppel, where he I mean, he had been shooting well. I guess he was he 30, a little over 30%? It doesn't matter. Kon Knueppel's a good shooter. I don't like taking that shot in that moment where it's just those two. Can we be a little bit more creative? Can we get everybody involved? Can we run something off ball for Kon further away from Colin Sexton, who's dribbling the air out of the basketball to waste more time, and then try to free him up in that way? Or do we absolutely need a three? Can we get something going to the basket? Kon, more so than he was hitting threes, was actually finishing quite well at the rim tonight. That was something that I had in my notes when I thought we were going to be talking about a victory. Hey, this is not something that's particularly a part of Kon's game. He actually had it rolling at the cup, which maybe we get him rolling, try to draw a foul, kick to somebody else with Kon being such a good passer. I just didn't like that play. But also, you're right. They didn't get back in transition early. If we're focusing on the last minute, yeah, clearly that's recency bias because that's just how the game ended. But there were plenty of mistakes made early. You're right. There was a play, shocker, Moussa Diabate didn't get back in time. Now, that those possessions are few and far between with Moussa, but that did happen earlier. And I felt like the Hornets turned it on in an effort sense after the Pelicans came out all up in their grill, under their jersey. They were the aggressor very, very early, and then I felt like the Hornets did match that after a while, and it's the rookies matching that. Yeah, it was just a bad game all around, and at the end, despite Derek Queen trying to hand us that basketball game with terrible passes on 2 occasions, Tre Mann had a couple bad decisions, had a turnover, an offensive foul call on him, and that's the ball game, man. Just an embarrassment of mistakes that happened here with the Hornets, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, 12 points off of 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter. I mean, again, I'm with you. I mean, I didn't love the call up to go with that 3, and so you can put some of that strategery onto Charles Lee, but. Yeah, I mean, 12 points off of 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That's going to be hard. I don't care who your coach is. That's going to be hard to come back from.
It is. It was a team effort in that sense, especially with some of the mistakes they made early on. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
More on the brutal loss, sicko lamentations from Doug Branson is what he wants to bring to you at the end of this one. That's all still to come. LOH. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game time? Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. The app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. And Game Time gives you a whole bunch of perks like their zone deals, which are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and then you save big. And you can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA, Locked On NBA, for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. More Locked On Hornets ahead. So I didn't like the play at the end, but also there were plenty of mistakes in this one. Just to talk more about it, what I thought we'd be talking about here, Doug, like I think the take that I was workshopping to lead us off in a potential Hornets win and that alternate universe, what I was working on was the Hornets in these close games, which they've only played 2 now on the season. Philly was a close one, and this game was a close one. They lost both of them. Their wins have been blowout wins for the most part, and their losses, their other ones, have been blowout losses where they weren't really in contention. So they've only played 2 close games, and you have a bunch of rookies out there, so I'm not surprised as to how they don't execute down the stretch. You don't have your number 1 offensive player in LaMelo. You don't have your second offensive player in Brandon Miller. That's going to be tough to come back from, even though that lets him off the hook in this game. In this one, it lets him off the hook because of some of the other mistakes they made. But what I thought I'd be talking about was how comfortable I feel with this Hornet squad winning against the teams that they're supposed to. Because, one, they'd already done it. Their 3 victories came against teams they were supposed to beat. But also, I think you could go back to the last couple of years and possibly question this team's effort in those games where they don't come in with the right mentality. And then afterwards, we'd ask Miles Bridges, we'd ask Mark Williams, we'd ask LaMelo, hey, why didn't you get it done against Washington? We just didn't come in ready to play. We gave it to them in the first or second quarter, and then we'd hear that same reason the next time out, where I thought I was going to come in and say, these rookies play so damn hard. Colin Sexton plays so hard. Musa and Tre, they play so hard. I feel so much more comfortable that those types of losses won't happen anymore. And there were a few stretches because the Pelicans are surely fed up. Jose Alvarado, he plays hard too. They're surely fed up. There's going to be some stretches where they show more effort than the Hornets. That happened, but I did feel like the Hornets really turned it on and got all those issues out of the way in the second half. And then the mistakes came more so than the lack of effort came. And the Hornets end up losing. So that take goes out the window. Any other thoughts that you had on this one?
Yeah, the Hornets cannot deliver consistent results, which is not surprising at all when you consider that they're starting 3 rookies, that they leaned heavily on the starters in this game. Only one of the starters didn't get 30 minutes and just got barely under 30, and that was Colin Sexton. But so, Charles Lee understands that his starters are essentially his bench, and his bench are essentially glorified G-Leaguers. And so, other than Tre Mann, who got 24 off the bench, and again, I thought Tre Mann was super impactful in the second half of this game. But yeah, there are holes everywhere. There are issues everywhere. And that's unsurprising when LaMelo Ball misses his second straight game with right ankle impingement. You've got Brandon Miller going to be out at least another 2 weeks with his shoulder subluxation. And then going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. We don't know exactly when he's going to be back. And you're also missing Grant Williams and even Josh Green at this point. I would take a little stability of Josh Green. I can't believe that I'm saying that.
Same.
Me of all people.
I know. I'm surprised.
You would take a little bit of Josh Green's steadiness at this point because, again, as I've said many times, I think this team is more set up. If all of those other guys were healthy, this team would be more set up for Josh Green than ever. Like Josh Green probably shuts down Jose Alvarado on that final play, and you're not having to depend on Colin. You shouldn't be depending on Colin Sexton for that much defense. Like some of that I put on Colin Sexton, but most of this, and this is not fun sports takery, but most of this I put on the circumstance of having to play the guys that he's forced to play. Like we all knew coming into the season that Colin Sexton was going to have defensive issues both with awareness but also in size. And there were several possessions. I noted multiple possessions where Colin Sexton got the too small celebration from the New Orleans Pelicans. They knew it. Defenses know it. They attack it when they can. So this is a situation that the Hornets find themselves in once again because of multiple injuries to key rotation players and the best player, LaMelo Ball.
Yep. And you look at the rookies, you mentioned this makes sense when you play this many young basketball players, right? It does make total sense. Except I will say I don't feel like I saw most of the mistakes come from the younger players on this team. And you're right. You talk about depending on these guys. They are depending on Kon. I mean, they draw up a play for him at the end of this one, even if I didn't like the play, because it's essentially, all right, Kon, 2-man game, force the pick and pop, and Kon let it fly, baby, wherever you get the basketball. Del Curry even thought Kon rushed it a little bit, but I thought some of the mistakes were coming from others. Tre Mann had as much, I tweeted it out too. I said this was a fun Tre Mann game. I mean, he was really
turnover issues.
That was the issue. And there were actually, I would say 2 or 3 mistakes, some pretty big ones at the very end of this game. And I tweeted it out. What a fun Tre Mann game. This was as fun a game that he had played to this point. Undressing dudes with his crossover, was getting so much space. Refs, I would say, weren't helping him out on some of these no calls that I thought he was getting. Same thing with some of the other Hornets, even though they did shoot 28 free throws. I can't complain too much. It still, what was it? The travel and then there was the offensive foul, and that all came within like a minute and a half stretch. Despite Derek Queen trying to give us some opportunities with terrible passes, that fast break pass was an all-time bad one. We just kept giving it right back to him. Here, we don't want to win this game, and eventually that's what happened. We lost it.
And Derek Queen followed up that I wrote in my box score notes, like, that's one of the worst passes you're going to see that you've maybe seen all year. There will be a worse one this season, I think. But that one's going to be up there at least top 3. Just flies it off the back, like high off the backboard, but he throws it from half court. Just like there's off target and there's whatever that is. And then he follows it up. He had Alvarado backdoor and just missed him completely. So, yeah, I mean, not only did they go on this 11-0 run to win it, before that, they were giving the Hornets every opportunity. But I would push back a little bit on the rookies. I saw plenty of rookie mistakes in this one. I saw Sion, particularly in the first half, there were multiple possessions where Sion James got worked on defense. And he's a good defender. He's particularly just like a great, strong effort defender. But I'm just telling, like, there's just experience stuff. There's just stuff that they see that they haven't seen yet, that they're working through for the first time. And they're just going to have to work through that. And really all you can hope is that the offense that you get both from the rookies and from your veterans, the shot making, can cover up enough of those mistakes. Because I don't think you're going to get through a game where you have all 3 or even like a majority of the rookies playing clean, consistent basketball that you would expect from a guy that's been in the league for 3 or 4 years. That's just sort of that's the math that they have to math right now. So and in this one, yeah, I mean, they didn't necessarily have the shot making that they needed to win this game.
I'm watching this Kon and Colin exchange at the very end, and I don't want to belabor one single play, but this is what you do in basketball. You have a play to win it. Did you make it? Did you miss it? What happened? You missed it. It was a play where you were up 2, and Kon he does relocate, and that's how he gains some separation coming off of that pick and pop, and Alvarado does have to close in pretty fast because of the relocation on Kon. He kind of reads the screen and doesn't go as far out to the wing as Alvarado thought. And so it's some nice heady play from Kon. It's just, again, it's okay, we need a bucket to try to bring this thing home. What do you got, Chuck? Like what we got in the bag. This is it. Okay. Maybe reach a little bit deeper into that satchel. That's what I'd like to see. I know he's smart, right? I know he's got a lot of the plays that work, and he can run some different actions that have gotten guys loose and, going to the rim. And it just felt I just came away a little underwhelmed by that play, and then eventually, mistakes took place afterwards.
Yeah, he rushed it, and he didn't meet the moment in that particular game.
Charles as play. I'm talking more about Charles. You're talking Kon
I'm talking
here.
about Kon Knueppel. I just thought he rushed the shot. Yeah, I mean, you could. Yeah, totally. Well, I think we've talked through I've said my piece on Charles in that play.
I went back. Sorry, I went back for more Chuck stuff. You're done. You wanted to move on for Kon. Yeah, I mean, tough shot. I mean, like, Alvarado does recover enough in time. He got a good look. It's still deep. It's a deep top of the key 3. To
me, that's like, again, does any of that exist if LaMelo Ball's playing? No, none of that exists. We're in an alternate. That is an alternate reality. We watched an alternate reality where LaMelo Ball wasn't on the floor. So, and that to me, again, is the story of the first part of the season, is that, we can put shine on these rookies, and we can say, yes, they are playing better than they should be, than honestly they should be expected to be playing. But at the same time, when you put them in certain moments, it's like, oh yeah, that's a second rounder, or that's a player that wasn't really slated as going to be like a special, shot maker in that way, right off the rip. So yeah, I mean, I think they're being put in tough positions here early in the season without all of these guys ready to go and healthy.
All right. Yeah. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Yeah, you don't seem to agree.
The con stuff. Well, I guess if we're going with the con, it feels like a very blanket statement over those rookies just not being ready for the moment. And I mean, it's amazing.
He wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that particular moment. I'm not saying he will never be ready for the moment.
No,
it's
I know.
Just in that one.
Yeah.
And that look, he didn't hit the shot. You wanted you wanted to make it about one play. I'm making it about one play. He didn't hit the shot.
Well, no, right. He missed a long 3-pointer, like, stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this speaks to something larger for me with the rookies, where you could look at these guys and say they made rookie mistakes, and they made mistakes. They did. They're not perfect basketball players, but I think saying that they made rookie mistakes almost doesn't put the focus on some of the veterans that made very similar mistakes, which is an issue. So where now it's like, they're younger players, they're rookies. Kon didn't hit the shot, he wasn't ready for the moment. Well, and are we going to say that about LaMelo when he misses a shot in clutch time, even if we've seen him hit clutch shots before? This is a one-off in Kon's 7th, 8th game that he played, and he missed a shot where it's not like you're drawn up with the freest look and you're asking, hey, we need you to extend this lead to 5, hit a deep 3. Sure, I guess. And because he missed it, was he not ready for the moment? I guess, in the way that all stars aren't ready for the moment when they miss a shot in clutch time. I don't know if that means he's a rookie, he'll learn, or he just missed a shot. Like that's what happened, and I think it was more so.
It means he's going to learn in that moment. It means he probably didn't need to take it as quickly as he took it. It means that he probably and maybe he had an array of options in front of him, and knowing, hey, I'm up 2 here. I don't need to yank this 3. If I've got a little bit of room to work here, Alvarado's off balance a little bit, trying to recover back to me. There's some stuff that I can do there. And you're right. The question is, was that just youth and inexperience and rushing it? Or was that, and will we see him develop that ability and go, hey, I learned from that last time on that Alvarado shot, and now I'm going to do it again? That's the fun in all this. That will be the fun in the season when we start to evaluate Kon Knueppel. Instead of game 8, we're evaluating him in game 82. But in this moment, he wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, and for me, the bigger mistakes were Tre turnovers, multiple, Miles not being ready for the moment.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. You're not going to get it. I just told you Colin Sexton was absolutely horrible on defense. He's a veteran.
No, I'm not. I've moved on from that. It's not like, hey, you're wrong, let me tell you how wrong you are. I'm saying, for me, the bigger issues were Tre Mann having the turnovers, the play, and also Miles. You talk about rushing a shot. Did we need that shot immediately? Like, go ahead. Did you feel like that was the best shot you were going to get in that situation? Okay, yeah. Anyways, just a bunch of mistakes. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Okay, Sicko Lamentations coming up from Doug Branson in the final segment. LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Sicko Lamentations. You want to take the wheel?
So I want to get to some Sicko Lamentations from the Sicko Brigade. Join subtext.com/add Locked On Hornets. After every game, I'm trying to do either if they lose, Sicko Lamentations, or if they win, Sicko Celebrations. Want to get to those in a second. Just final thing off of what we were talking about. That's why everybody, I think, is going to, rightly, because you do focus on the final, particularly when a team goes on an 11-0 run to beat you, you focus on those final couple of minutes. But I really would encourage people to put the microscope on that first half. when, again, after they break the lineup, the New Orleans Pelicans looked like the more hungry team. They wanted that first win. They were playing without their star too, no Zion Williamson in this game, and it honestly probably freed some guys up that were playing under his shadow a little bit. They could play a little bit faster, a little freer, and they did so, and they looked like the more spry team. They looked like the more focused team in the first half. The Hornets, 53% from the restricted area, just not good enough, man. They were not good enough in the first half. They could have taken control of this game and that 11-0 run, like in the game against Utah. Think about what happened in Utah. Utah went on a huge run. I believe it was in the back half of the third quarter, and didn't matter. Didn't matter because the Hornets were already up 30. Hornets could have easily done that in this game and couldn't. Same personnel, no LaMelo, same kind of situation. And Utah had Markkanen. Utah had their best player. So anyway. Yeah.
Well, no, I was just you're not wrong. Not getting back in transition is frustrating. That's one
because they've been doing it all year. They've been doing it all year.
Right. Well, and also it's a particular pet peeve when that if that's your MO is to beat teams down the court and find some weaknesses and find some of their vulnerabilities there. You would think you'd be aware or hyper aware of not being that team yourself. If that's how you want to attack teams, then this is a strength. We want to get back down the floor as well, except they're not getting back. And we know LaMelo not being on the floor, their transition offense just falls off of a cliff. The efficiency, the frequency, it's all bad when LaMelo's not on the court. So they do operate a little more in the half court, especially with Tre, because he's a half court guy. Colin Sexton, same thing here. Not getting back was real frustrating.
Yeah, and let me clarify. When I say they've been doing it all year, they actually have been getting back into transition most of this season. That's not been generally the problem with their defense. It's been just getting kind of murdered in the half court and not being able to stop guys there, not being able to keep guys in front, and just hoping and praying that Ryan Kalkbrenner blocks a shot. All right, here we go. Sicko Lamentations. This is all from the Sicko Brigade here. I'm just gonna, in the interest of rapid firing and getting as many of these as I can, I'm not gonna click in and read off the name tags that I usually do, but you know who you are. It's hard to lose to the worst team in the league when they're missing their best player, but it's just inexperience and youth in those final minutes causing unforced errors and wrong decisions. Everyone needs bad beats to grow and improve. I would be worried about mental toughness if we had firm playoff expectations, but the rookies continue to be the bright spot.
The rookies, I think they do continue to be the bright spot. Like it's the classic sports writer throws their story in the trash. And you shouldn't have written this too early anyway. I was the way too eager sports writer. There was no reason for me to finish my story before I actually hopped on the pod. But I did want to talk more about the Rooks because it has been so impressive to watch what they're doing. Kon Knueppel, every single game, there's going to be a tweet about how he's the first rookie to this many three-pointers in this many games. So real quickly, I just decided to look at the end of an 82-game season so we don't have to keep doing the check-in on 8, 9, 10, 11, because we're going to do it every game. Hornets PR is going to send out those tweets. Keegan Murray has the record for most threes by a rookie, right at 206, only one to hit over 200, and that's at 2.5 made three-pointers a game. Kon is at 3.5 right now. So playing all the games, staying at this pace, he's going to be, I guess, a whole three-pointer made per game more? Are we talking close to 300? Are we going to blow this thing out of the water if he stays on this pace, which, I think there's decent enough reason for that to happen. Yeah, the rookies have been awesome to start the season. They've been really damn good in their role and what they're supposed to do. It has you reevaluating what you think Kon's ceiling can be. He's scoring the basketball quite a bit with and without LaMelo. They're relying on him. He's already one of their best offensive players. Yeah, and even defensively, Charles Lee gave some shout outs to what he's doing on that end of the floor. They've been awesome.
Anita of the 24th Plumlee Division says, how many turnovers did we have in the fourth quarter? All I have to say. And the answer is 8. And to Walker's point, only one of those went to a rookie, and that was Sion James. Actually, 2 of those. Liam McNeely had 1 too. Sion James had 1. That came at the end of the game. But Kon Knueppel 0. Kalkbrenner 0. Tre Mann 3. Miles 1. Colin Sexton 2. And then 4, 6, 7, 8 fouls as well in that fourth quarter. Not good.
Well, yeah, I mean, speaking of the one turnover real quickly from one of the rookies, so two points. Sion James, Duke is playing at Spectrum Center right now, and I have to imagine Duke fans felt a little tingle in their bones from a turnover off of a Sion James inbound, because it was a critical inbound error that he made late against Houston in the tournament last year that bounced them, and it was a contribution to what was a crazy comeback for the Cougars to bounce Duke from the tourney. And so it was funny when he was drafted, a lot of Duke fans said, hey, he's awesome. We love him here in Durham. Just don't let him inbounds it. Ha, ha, ha. And he inbounds it, and then he turns it over. So the Demons, they are alive. And then Liam McNeely, a lot of minutes for him, and they weren't very good.
No, Jay Brown Buzz City says the last 4 minutes almost identical to the Philly collapse. And that one we blew a 7-point lead late by scoring only 5 points down the stretch on 2 of 10 shooting, 0 of 7 on threes. And this one, we also blew a 7-point lead while scoring 0 points in the final 3:21, missing all 6 shots, 0 for 4 on threes, and 4 turnovers. Yeah, I mean, shot making was a huge, probably under-discussed story in this one. Someone else says vomit-inducing. Someone else says the ball should have gone to Miles or Sexton, not Kon. Kon settled for the 3 instead of driving. This team will go nowhere unless Melo and Miller stay healthy. I mean, that's, we can sit here and dig into the weeds, but you don't have LaMelo Ball, you don't have Brandon Miller, and you don't start the game with the right sort of mentality. You have the potential. You can, if you probably re-rack this game 10 times, the Hornets win, I'd say 6 at least. But you have the potential to lose 4 of them.
Feels like 7. Yeah,
maybe 6 or 7.
Oh, God. The Kon shot. If Kon really had freedom to do something else there, then fine. I think that's part of my issue with it, is it felt very pointed in that, Colin, once you get off of that screen, pass it back to Kon. Kon, once you get free, let it fly. It felt like both of those were coaching decisions, and it's all speculation. It's watching what these guys are doing, but it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of thought there. There didn't seem to be a whole lot of action of freedom. It felt, this is choreographed puppet dance. I'm watching this last play from Miles, by the way. Let me tell you who was not going past this one. This was Miles' shot, baby. You look at, I'm watching some of the clips that we have available thanks to Synergy, and he's driving right down the sideline. Colin flashes high post right there at the free throw line, and just not looking at him, right? You need a 3, so you'd have to kick it out, or you'd have to score real quick 2 with about 9 seconds left. I mean, it's fine to go with the 3, but Miles chucks it with 2 hands in his face. Makeable shot, but yeah, just let me tell you, this was Miles' moment, baby. He wasn't about to give up that rock.
And he got exactly what he deserved there, because it wasn't a good shot. It wasn't a make. It was
just so many mistakes. God, that's why it's so painful. Whether coaching. I love what Tre gave us so many times. I hate that those turnovers came at the end, because this was a fun Tre game. He did a lot of good stuff offensively, and there was some turnovers at the end. I hate that. Kon had a really nice game. That was a game we were supposed to feel good about with what the rookie showed us, the top 5 pick, who continues to look like, I don't know, a top 3 pick with the way that he's been playing. He's. I wish we had more good things to say, but we have to talk about an L instead. There we go. Anything else, Doug, or you want to end it there?
Inbounding issues, turnovers like crazy. The DeLorean took us back to 2015, says Schumann of the 22nd Mullins Regiment.
You're a Hornets fan. If you know, you know. Slob
Time
plays.
is a flat circle.
You can never feel comfortable. That'll do it. Sloppy slobs. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. That should be the name of our other podcast. Not only is he the curator of everyhornetsboxscore.com, not only is he hiring new people. Nick Thomas a new member of everyhornetsboxscore.com.
Yeah,
is that
it's gonna be
correct?
helping
Yeah,
out.
cool stuff from him. Also, Yahoo Sports Daily, Doug is producing with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.